ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, reptiles, ungulates, and transphibians, vegans, vegetarians, and other extraterrestrials. Prepare yourself for a spectacle so shocking, a human oddity so bizarre, a freak of nature so unlikely that it may make you doubt your own sanity. It may make you question your tenuous grip on the fabric of reality. Pregnant women and nursing mothers are advised to leave the room immediately. Likewise, anyone using a pacemaker for reliable fibrillation is advised to turn it up to 11. Anyone suffering from hypertension, hyperthyroidism, hyperegotism, or hyperinflation should probably consult a medical professional before this next act comes on. Discovered in the wilds of exotic Oregon. Brought to you here at great expense for your elucidation and edumacation. Conversant with all of the world's literature because he has literally devoured it. Half man, half worm, half genius. He walks, he talks, he crawls on his belly like an annelid. I will have you welcome the human bookworm.
I have to put on my reading glasses. This appearance should relieve all of you who may fear that I am running for political office. I will begin by quoting William Shakespeare. Hamlet says, "A man may fish with a worm that hath eat of a king, and eat of a fish that hath fed of that worm." Now, here's your line, Stuart. I underlined it. I just rewrote all of his text this morning. You're Claudius.
What dost thou mean by this?
I beg your pardon?
What you talking about, Wormy?
I'm sorry. I can't hear you. I don't have any ears. Have you no consideration? And furthermore, I'm legally blind.
What dost thou mean by this?
I still can't hear you. Listen, help me, everybody. All together. What dost thou mean by this? I won't tell you. Look it up. It's in a book. Act 4, Scene 3, page 2. Don't you people ever read? Oh, I have to apologize for this. I'm sorry for saying that. Worms, and especially bookworms, tend to be a little passive-aggressive. And I want to apologize to you because Stuart and I have been collaborating for, I don't know, about 20 years. We read each other's texts all the time. And
Excuse me, Bookworm. If you're going to drop character, does that mean I can stop talking in this annoying voice?
no,
I'm setting off car alarms on Market Street.
no, you may need that voice. You have to understand, Stuart and I are the odd couple of Burning Man. He's the one who stuffed me into this costume. But I feel like us being an odd couple, I have to apologize. I want to apologize for tearing up your script and replacing it with my own. So I want you to give me one big sloppy worm hug. And before you do, I want to point out that I have 3 segmented rolls of fat around my body, which are like triple love handles, and I actually can reproduce from either end. See, I told you need that Barker's voice. That was good for me. I don't know about you.
It was fantastic, Bookworm.
So, as you all do, we're doing a theme this year. You forgive me. I've got to take this thing off. Yes. That's right. Here, excuse me.
You've stepped out from behind the proscenium. Never let him see behind the scrim. It's rule 1 of showmanship.
Okay, there we go. Stuart and I worked on shows back in 1996, the year we did Helco, which in San Francisco, which presaged our first full theme in the desert. And the last 3 years, we've been collaborating on the texts. And our whole aim, and you also know, how many people here are going to be participating in the Midway this year? Okay, that's a good showing. And what our intention is, has been to gather people together. You see, Burning Man came out of a scene in San Francisco, and people were just bouncing off one another and naturally collaborating with one another, emulating one another, imitating one another, and surviving on very little and therefore willing to give a lot, and in a realm where people live by their gifts and for their gifts, and that's what the artists tend to do in their natural habitat, and then we turned that into a city. What it occurred to us when we moved, as you know, we moved the core projects in, and then first we had the big circle of core, and then we had the little circles, and then we moved to all in around the man, and we thought we want to do an interactive performance scene where all the actors are close in and corresponding to one another and interacting with one another, and that people, it would be a means, a kind of tutelage whereby people could get their chops. We learned originally to do that sort of thing because it was a particular scene in a particular place, and we hold the hope, indeed I have faith, that kind of creativity can be exported around the world, and that scenes can be engendered in communities. But it takes, art is self-expression, it takes practice, and a certain level of lunatic professionalism.
And let's not forget that we learn by failing, as you are doing right now. Your
Yes,
act
I
is
know.
tanking.
I know that. And, I may seem spineless, but I have feelings. So what we want to do is last year I had a little shop, and I was all ears and all eyes for what was going on around me. For years I'd been the man behind the curtain. I decided for the first time ever I wrote myself into one of my own shows, and went out, and you may not have noticed me, because I am sort of retiring, but I'm very aware of what's going on around me, and I watched how everybody was interacting.
Wait, this is going on the wires right now. Larry Harvey is retiring.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't take that out of context.
So,
Go on.
This is the second installment. There'll be a third installment, which is already being planned for 2016, and which I won't tell you about either.
I have a question about that, though, Larry. This is the third theme in a row that begins with the letter C-A-R.
That's right.
This is Carnival of Mirrors, Caravansary. What was the first one? Cargo Cult. Is next year's going to follow that same pattern, and if so, why?
Carport. It's going to be carpool.
Carpool. You heard it here first. Carpool tunnel syndrome.
We're going
Live
to
on
solve
Black
the
Rock
whole
Desert.
vehicle problem by creating the largest carport in the world.
Carpe diem, man.
And so this year we hope to, we're really stressing performance a lot. And we're also going to intermix artists who have been working for a few years in that mix too, to even make it a richer learning environment. And my prediction is what's going to happen is people are going to go back, and eventually, suddenly, unexpectedly and unfathomably, people with visions and skills are going to step forward, maybe that you hadn't even noticed before, and pretty soon everybody will be used to collaborating and know what performance is like, and then pretty soon scenes will form. And scenes are very, very, very powerful things, as we all know. And so that's really our intention. So you want to talk about the theme now?
You're doing great, buddy.
Oh, I hate you.
I have a question, though.
What?
I have a question. If on the odd chance that anyone here might be inspired by this pathetic attempt at a carnival performance,
Thank you.
will there be opportunities for those who have not created a space in the Midway to perform somewhere around the base of the man? Is that possible?
Well, the word should go forth. That, there are going to be 2 performance stages out there.
Stages at Burning Man?
You bet.
Wow.
And you bet. And we're going to stress interactivity, but yeah, you bet. Show business, stages, performers, and it'll be we'll be scheduling. Anybody who's interested should start. We'll put out the call a little more loudly a little later in the year, but there's certainly room for fire performance on them, and a whole lot of other things, and there'll be a green room. I assure you.
I understand that there may be a space within the Midway for regional contacts and friends from our network who wish to perform, may want to check in at the Carney Corral.
There you go.
Remember that. Write that down. Join us at the Carney Corral.
And just to comment on my bookworm persona, this will be your chance. You know, bookworms are interesting. They long to. They love literature. They love reading. And for me, all my life, since I can remember, I was given The Origin of Species at the age of 12. Read it straight through under a willow tree. I never looked back.
Did this spur your evolution into a man-worm hybrid?
Yeah, it certainly did. And because suddenly I could imagine through books, I could see it was like windows on a great world where there were voices, people who knew things I didn't know, and worlds I'd never seen. And I could enter into them. I could even enter them into the minds of characters when I was reading fiction. And oh, what a release that was, especially for, you know, a kid who was definitely a weirdo. So it's for years, in the scene Burning Man came out of, the shorthand for, they weren't hipsters really. It was just, you'd say that, you'd mention someone and they say, oh yeah, they're a weirdo, and everybody would nod, sure, okay. And I believe, I don't know about hipsters, they seem to thrive on excluding other people, but true weirdos are weird in themselves and ready to be weird with others. And none of you would be here if you weren't, in some sense, a human oddity. And so that's very much an opportunity this year to step out and express that part of yourself. You know, the secret bookworm self. I will do a show that flits and leads a spectral life on the playa unpredictably, but I intend to extol those books I love, and I'll even plant people in the audience to, you know, ask questions if I have to.
You're giving away secrets again.
And I'm going to have a burn barrel crafted, especially that now don't tell anybody this, but has copper tubes that'll spray fire out at the top, and then I will appear and to burn all those books I hate. Who hasn't wanted to burn, you know, whatever it might be, Jonathan Livingston Seagull? There's a long list of these books, and that's.
Can we include the entire catalog of Tom Clancy?
And bookworms also secretly despise the illiterate, you know, and consider, I don't know, most of the people they meet illiterate, but we don't tell this to people. But this is a way to express that secret part of oneself in an appropriately and aesthetically distanced way, and share that with others. But by analogy with that, then surely all of you can think of something in yourself that is very like that indeed, and rather inwardly complain, outwardly perform, and bring your audience in. You know, as I've falteringly attempted to do today, and include them in that part of yourself, in that world, in a way where you can play together. And every one of you, I challenge you, ask yourself, what is that secret part? What is that part? Where is it? You know, that's that bottom below the bottom below the bottom below. You know where I'm talking, you know the region I'm talking about. And that's what radical accession is.
Worms have two of those regions, don't they?
We go both ways. We go both ways.
Well, I believe that's about all the time we have.
Well, all
to
right.
see more of the bookworm, join us in the midway at the base of the man at the Carnival of Mirrors. Let's have a big hand for the bookworm, Larry Harvey.
You're welcome.